Yes, you say yeah. Yes. Yes. When I say who, you say who? 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 Wow, you guys really follow instructions. Really must be well behaved, everybody. Okay, perfect. Now that everybody's paying attention, I would now like to call on our next friend who's going to be talking about a very important matter. I'd like for everybody here to pay attention, of course, and participate when you're called upon. Please help me in welcoming on stage Mr. Ben from ASTRAC, everybody.
Thank you. Hello. Nice to be here today. I'm Benjamin and I'm from the organization ASRAC. Did you ever hear that word before? ASRAC? Yes, right? What does it mean? Just scream it. Yes, blue. Exactly. So, ASRAC is the Arabic word for blue, and our organization, ASRAC, is here to help the oceans. If we imagine the oceans, the sea, we imagine that blue, clean water, right? But that blue, clean water is in danger, right? I've heard already that you were speaking about plastic bags and stuff thrown away. And some of that stuff eventually ends up in the oceans. To prevent that from happening, ASRAC tries to protect the marine ecosystems and all the animals in the oceans. And our second objective is to raise awareness about issues impacting the marine environment. And that's why I'm here today as well, to speak with you about how to protect the oceans. And the topic in particular today is marine debris. So we have a few slides, most of them mainly pictures, that I want to talk with you about. These slides will first tell you what is marine debris, what is the impact of marine debris, why should we care? At one point, I will ask you, what do you think are the most common items dropped into the oceans? Not right now. Keep the question in mind, think about it, and a little bit later, you will get the chance to tell me what you think. And then, most important, after that, we will talk about how we can save the oceans. What can each and every one of you do to protect our environment? So the first slide is asking, what is marine debris? Basically, any man-made product that is disposed of or abandoned in the oceans as a result of human activity is marine debris. So that can be bottles, other small items, but also, and we will get to that later, big items like fishing nets. And there's no place on Earth that is immune to this problem, right? Even countries that are not directly connected to the oceans suffer from issues we, the humans, create by dropping stuff into the oceans. If we take a closer look at that marine debris, we will see that 80% of that is waste plastic. So plastic is really the most dangerous material in the oceans. And the other 20% are materials such as glass, but also metal and paper. So for those who do not yet know what 80 and 20% means, imagine 10 bottles. 8 of these bottles are made of plastic and 2 are made of glass or metal. So these 8 bottles are 80% and the 2 bottles are 20%. So 8 out of 10 items dropped into the ocean are waste plastic. So why is it so bad that we have marine debris in the oceans? The first thing is ingestion. What does it mean? Maybe someone of you can answer that. Can we have a microphone for the kids?
Ingestions mean like when they're eating food and it does not get digested.
Pardon, can you repeat once more?
Ingestions means when they're eating and it does not get digested.
Precisely. When the animals eat whatever they find, they ingest it, and that can create issues for the animals. We will see more details about that later. Second impact, the so-called ghost fishing. Ghost fishing? You all know there are no ghosts, right? But there are sometimes fishing nets drifting through the oceans without a boat, without humans nearby. These are so-called ghost nets. And they still catch fish, which is really bad because the fishes get entangled in the nets and they die. These ghost nets are also dangerous to other ships. They might entangle in the rotor blades, and then the ships need to get back into maintenance. However, besides the animals in the oceans, also human health is affected by the marine debris. And I will explain you why a little later. Last but not least, I want to talk with you about the impact of COVID, right? Because every one of us is wearing masks nowadays. And usually if people go to the beach, they will drop their mask, right? But not each of these masks go into the ocean, go into the trash bin, but go into the ocean. So, if we remember the first point, the animals in the ocean, they would eat whatever they find. And here on the left side, we can see a turtle. That turtle is swimming towards that plastic bag. We are not sure if he is really eating the bag, but that bag, even if it's staying in the ocean for longer, might be a health risk for the animals. On the right side here, we can see much smaller plastic particles. So what happens to the plastic bags is, over the years, it decomposes very, very slowly. And it falls into smaller pieces of plastic. And these smaller pieces, again, fall into tiny, tiny pieces, which are called microplastics. And somewhere along that process, the particle is small enough to have the right size to eat for some animal. That might be a fish, that might be a turtle. And what happens then is the animals, that eat the plastic, they will feel, "Whoa, I ate so much. I'm no longer hungry. I will just swim around." But the plastic does not supply any nutrition. So this is a false feeling of being full. And the animals starve and die with a full belly. So that's why eating marine debris is so harmful for the animals. Sometimes the plastic is not eaten by the animals, but those ghost nets, for example, will just make the animals entangle. We can see here, especially turtles have issues with these, but even bigger animals, such as whales, can be caught in a net. And at some point, they might choke or not being able to swim anymore and die. So you remember I also told you that it is bad for human health. And that is not because we go into the oceans and swim. No, we wouldn't eat the plastic swimming around, obviously. But maybe one of you knows the answer to that already. Why is it dangerous to human health as well? Can we get the microphone to one of the kids once more? Thank you. So the question was, why is it dangerous for human health that plastic is swimming?
It's dangerous because it has some toxic waste. So if you swim, toxic waste from the food or the product will come in your body, and yeah.
Yeah, maybe one more answer. Who has another idea?
The fish swim in the plastic and eat the fish. So
Precisely. Thank you. Yes, we eat the fish, right? Many of us like to eat fish and seafood. A question, raise your arm. Who likes to eat fish or seafood?
me.
Wow, that's almost everyone. So, keeping in mind that almost all of you like fish and seafood, now we remember that these animals eat the plastic that we dropped into the ocean. And these plastics do not only stuff the fish, but they contain toxins. And these toxins are still inside the fishes and the seafood. Now, if we catch the fish, bring it to the market, and at the market we buy them, even if our country is not even connected to an ocean, at that point, when we eat the fish, we also ingest some of that plastic and the toxics. And these can also affect human health. Year by year, more plastic is dropped into the oceans, and the amount of animals that have plastics inside them is increasing every year. And that means every year, all of us also eat more and more plastic. That's not nice, right? So That is, for us humans, the most dangerous impact of marine debris. I mentioned that shipping vessels can also be damaged by the material floating around. And last but not least, the mask. If they go into the ocean, animals eat them, they get entangled in them. And during the last 3 years, the amount of masks found at the beaches and inside the oceans just skyrocketed. At the beach cleanups, which ASRAC does on continuous basis, most likely we are about to find masks in all colors, and most of them are, even if they feel very soft, made of plastic. So, now is the question, why should we care? Even if we don't eat fish, why should we care? Maybe we can answer that. Can you answer that? Can we have the microphone once more? Thank you. Anyone? Yes. Maybe from here and then from there. So why do we need to care?
Maybe because the fish, they... Okay.
The fish can't help themselves, right?
Yes, they can't help themselves, and they need someone to help. Like, for example, me. So I go into the ocean, and then I get the plastic out of the sea to help the fish.
Very good, thank you. Yes, all the animals in the oceans, they do not create debris. We, the humans, create it. And the animals also cannot get rid of it. So we need to take care of that. So for us, why should we care? We eat food from the ocean, so we want to stay healthy. We want to go to the beach and see the ocean without trash inside. Our health is affected by this decision to keep the oceans clean or not. Of course, there's also the ethical point of view. Most of us love animals, right? We don't want them to be harmed, even if we don't eat them. And then the most dangerous part, why we should care, is the so-called trophic cascade. What does that mean? Never heard that word, I guess. So, if there is one species in the ocean that really loves to eat the plastic because it exactly looks like what they want to eat, then the whole species might be endangered and go in, they all might die. If that happens, it affects the whole food chain. Do you know what the food chain is? Please raise your arm. Who knows what the food chain is? Wow, very good. That's a bigger part of you. For those who do not know it yet, the food chain, with many links, includes all the animals on the planet. And right now, on top of that food chain, the upper link are the humans. Because we can eat whatever is below us in the food chain. And it's a very, very, very bottom. There are small planktons, then fishes, bigger fishes, and so on. Birds, cats, predators. And they are all linked. And if you take out one of these links, then the animals on top of them in the food chain might no longer have something to eat. So they also might go extinct. And then again, the next link in the chain, and so on. Worst case is that it affects the whole food chain. So we really need to make sure that every species on the planet is not affected by marine debris. So now comes the question I asked earlier. What do you think are the most common marine debris items we find during Asrak's beach cleanups? Let's hear some voices, maybe from this side as well. Thank you.
Maybe we can find a lot of masks because people tend to throw the masks when they go for swimming in the beach.
Right. So masks, we have a lot, and also plastic gloves. Yeah?
We can find plastic bags, etc., like plastic bottles, everything can be found.
Right. Plastic bottles to drink, and usually also plastic bags in which we carry the stuff to the beach and then leave it there. Yeah? Let's hear some more.
It's also, we find a lot of trash, we find masks, we find plastic bottles, and all of these are really not good in the ocean. It might kill all of us, even the humans, because it ends the food chain.
Yes, thank you. Sometimes we also find balls and sports material. It's not one of the most common items, but we find a lot of different things. Yeah. Maybe one more.
We might find paper because.
Yes, we also find a lot of paper, magazines, printed material. Let's take a look at a list of these items the ASRAC members find during the beach cleanups. Number one are bottles and caps. Usually we find them separate because people throw away the bottle, throw away the cap. Food wrappers, straws and stirrers. Straws are particularly annoying because they are plastic, they fall apart quickly, and then, first of all, they are quite unnecessary. Most of us can drink without straws, right? And nowadays there are so many good alternatives. Bamboo straws. I even saw a noodle straw in a restaurant, which was like a large macaroni. So we really don't need the plastic straws. Bags, then the private equipment for protection, like masks and gloves, you mentioned that as well. And a part of these, which are all plastics, we usually find glass bottles and cigarette butts. Only in the last year, during the cleanups, we collected more than 2,000 cigarette butts from the beaches. So if you go to the beaches and you just check the ground, I'm pretty sure that you will find most of these items. So how can we keep our ocean safe? Let me give you some hints. The first thing we can do is refuse. We can refuse to use plastic. We can use reusable bottles, straws made of bamboo, masks made of cotton, reusable bags. We can, in general, reduce anything that is made of plastic and use material that is sustainable. Even our clothes. Most of our clothes include plastic strings, even though we don't know it. And these plastic strings, crazily, also end up in the oceans while we wash the clothes. We can reuse and repurpose. So even though we create waste, we can think about ways to reuse the plastic in creative ways. We can use it for art. We can find companies in the UAE that take the material and create something meaningful of it. And even if that doesn't work, number 4 is to recycle. Who knows what recycling means? Very good. That's great. Your school taught you well, your parents taught you well, so a big number of you already knows what recycling is. Recycling means material that would end up as trash, either in the landfill or in the ocean, can be provided back to those companies who produce bottles, for example, and an old bottle will become a new recycled bottle. That's perfect because none of that material will end up in the ocean or somewhere else. And what can you do, all of you? We already saw there are things in daily life that we can do by simply not using plastic. At ASRAC, we have 3 pillars of what we do. First one is we educate. So we speak with other people who might not know about these problems and make sure that they know what's going on. Motivate. You learned something today, I hope, and by speaking with others and showing them how to do it, you can motivate them to do the same. And last but not least, we try to activate people to do something themselves. I showed you some pictures of the beach cleanups, right? Here we have some more. Here, for example, that's in Dubai. That's me with my 2 children. We just go to the beach on regular basis. We also go swimming, but we would just pick up some rubbish and try to recycle it. This is not for younger kids, but we also do ocean cleanups. So we go out with a boat and we have divers who dive into the ocean and pick up items from inside the oceans. And not easy to see, but these 2 gentlemen, they are planting trees. So planting trees helps our environment because they reduce the amount of carbon that goes into the air. So these are small things everyone can do. Please don't jump into the ocean and dive for plastics. But beach cleanup, that's a perfect thing. Planting a tree, maybe motivate the parents or other people to do it. And we also have a youth section at ASRAC. We always welcome new members, any age, to join us for the beach cleanups and other ASRAC activities. In our online shop, we have many different items. You don't need to buy them, but there you can get ideas how you can use sustainable items instead of plastics, right? Like tote bags, bottles that you can reuse, masks, and so on. So ASRAC is located here in the UAE. Our head office is in Dubai, and you can get in touch with us, maybe ask your teachers, ask your parents, just search for blue in Arabic and get in touch with us. I hope this was interesting for you and maybe it helped some of you to understand the problems the oceans are dealing with and how we can help to protect our oceans. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
And also we handle the just few questions and I ask earlier, how needs, right? And we have to work for blue. Next time the niche will be something fascinating what we do. We all love the ocean. We all love we love you. Ladies also here, we have a gentleman by the name of Nassir, who is ready. Nassir, are you ready? Nassir is our friend who is actually a superhero. We call him the planet savior. There's a game and everything, and he's very strong. He's going to be joining us on the stage to make sure that we hand over the flag of appreciation. But for now, we just have a quick 30-second break. And let me just make sure first our planet savior is here with us.
Ganda pala ng shirt niyo. Yung Beetle Goliath. Yes. How about you, Pao? Okay naman. Just trying to close schools. Usap ko si mami mo. You're so excited to go back home. Ha? January ko ulit. When in January? 6. Dating ko doon 7. So nice. Mali siguro yung na-mute mo. Si Miss siya hindi ba dapat ito yung... Hindi. Mic to yun. Let's open it. Sabi ni Isa. Okay. Stop na yung streaming. Patay tayo. Tapos naman na eh.